Hey everybody, this is a short workout video of Carter J and I at the gym before we film the scene together. I'm going to talk a little bit about fitness and like kind of where I've been with it. This is a funny thing though, like as we were pulling up there, I thought to myself like, can we film here? But then I was like, oh man, I've seen so many videos clearly filmed at a Planet Fitness. You know, you can tell a Planet Fitness, you know, just so many. But then like I got there and I was like, man, I don't feel it. I felt like a real dickhead with the camera. And I don't know about like, it's one thing to like film your buddy working out quick. I wasn't about to do like, hey, it's me here and blah, blah, blah. And like, you know, and like you have to worry about other people getting in the shot. And I just thought about it like, man, I'll just get the footage and talk over it. Cause you know, I was not always this fit. I was actually a very, very large kid. I'll show some pictures.
So this is a me at a rave circa about 2009. This is me with my puppy. I was probably about 19 in that. And me thugged out, probably about the same age. And me strung out. This I was definitely older. So here we go with Carter warming up. You know, those pictures, I was probably only about 220. And I think at my heaviest, I was, man, you know, when you're that large, you tend not to get on the scale too much. But I remember at one point seeing 265 pop up. And that was probably like 7th or 8th grade. And I ended up getting down. I like crash dieted to 190, but then blew back up. And I was always just kind of chubby after that. So you can see me now here. I'm about, I think 190 pounds. And you know, this is a totally different 190 pounds than I've been. I've been 190 pounds many times and looked completely different. You know, Carter, he has a plan from a trainer. I do more kind of bodybuilding based stuff. And that's because, you know, I kind of started lifting in prison. And you don't have the internet in prison. Plus, this was back before fitness was so mainstream. So in there, everybody does like very traditional bodybuilding programs. People in prison typically do a 5-day split, which would be like chest on one day, back, legs, shoulders and arms is usually how people split it up. And then you take 2 days off for rest. And in prison, man, it's so many people on the yard and everybody works out. And the place I was at was pretty small. There was, it was a small yard, but there was 1,700 people in the prison. And there was 2 weight pits, and they were full basically all the time. It was hard. You had to work out with a group of people. This is what I basically do for my abs. In my opinion, abs are something that need to be hit really quickly, really hard. You know, it's funny, in prison, you have nothing but time. Man, guys used to do 90-minute ab workouts in prison. Like, God, dude, it's a muscle an inch thin. It doesn't need all that. People really do overtrain a lot in prison just because there's nothing goddamn else to do. You know, Carter is just like a naturally fit guy, though. You know, that's the thing I noticed with... I've been pretty blessed with how my skin has retracted from all the weight I've lost, but I still don't have... There's just like this certain definition that a guy who has never been overweight has. And that's what Carter has. Let me tell you a little bit more about him. You know, this type of work I do can be very, you know, it's not the most difficult job I had. You know, I enjoy it so much more than construction, but it is difficult in certain ways. In the ways it's difficult, I just happen to be good at. I'm good at performing on camera. I found that a lot of women kind of aren't, and I actually have worked with way more women than I have men. And Carter's the only man I've worked with. You know, and they can have a difficult time. So even though I'm attracted to women, they're not that easy to work with in my experience. You know, I'm not attracted to men of any kind, but especially not masculine men. But let me tell you, working with Carter, man, he, you know, I talk like he matches my work ethic, but really he completely trumps it. This is a guy that like is, first of all, he's working out. He's doing all this throughout the week. And I'm like, you know, Cinderella, dude. At 10 p.m. I turn into a pumpkin. It's over. And this guy goes and dances like all across the country, flies out every weekend, out all night dancing. And man, I couldn't, that staying out late, that I can't do. Like, man, I can put the hours in. I can get to business when it's time to film, and I can do the editing. I'm self-driven when it comes to that. But Yeah, that he just trumps me in that, man. I just to me though, working out is like my time off. That's, you know, I wake up in the morning, I drink my coffee, I kind of check my business stuff, but don't start working yet. And then I get ready to go to the gym. And that's kind of, I've always been a guy that I don't like to work first thing in the day. I'd much rather have a night shift where I work and then go to bed rather than waking up. I like a little bit of time for myself before I get into work mode. So for me, you know, I wake up around 6:30 or 7, and then I recently got my out time extended till 7 a.m. before I had to wait till 8 a.m. to leave the house. But then I go to the gym for about 2 hours, and that's like my me time. And towards the end of that, I start thinking about what I'm going to do for work, what I'm going to do for my meals that day, and I go home. You know, another thing I do for that's kind of a break for me is cooking. You know, I'm a bodybuilder, man. Like, I just throw all my rice and proteins in a slow cooker bowl and eat it. But, you know, my girlfriend is not like that. One of the things I love in life is, like, making a beautiful meal for her. I just fried her up some crispy pork carnitas last night. This is me doing shrugs. Man, it's crazy because when I was younger, I dreamed of not being fat. I never thought I would actually be like in shape. That never occurred to me, the idea of having visible abs. And it's kind of funny, like once I finally did get into bodybuilding and had that as a dream, I was so delusional. I thought that my life would completely change if I got into this level of shape. And to be fair, it did, but I just had unreasonable expectations. Bodybuilding has, even with all the hours I dedicate to it, has been the most rewarding thing in my life. In my opinion, you know, our body is the only thing we truly own. And when all these years I spent as kind of a dreg of society, for lack of a better term, you know, somebody who never had things of my own and relied on my family. I never had the car or the home. I was never a homeowner. To be in great shape was something I valued. When I was in the gym, that was a time where I had something over the other men my age. I originally got sober up north in this kind of affluent tourist town called Petoskey. And there's a lot of sober houses in Petoskey. And people in the community know about them. So people, they see my tattoos and the tether on my ankle, and they knew exactly where I was from and that I was a former addict, probably an ex-con. And it was very hard on my self-esteem. And that was one thing I loved about the gym up there, is I was always one of the top guys. And in the gym, that's the place where being fit really matters. You know, maybe on the beach too. But there was something where, like, you know, as soon as I walked out those doors, it wasn't so, you know, it was always impressive that I was in good shape, but not like in the gym where that's what really matters. So that place was always, you know, like a home to me. And man, it's sad to say, I talk about, I want to do a video on all the stuff that happened in sober houses. Man, I love that gym and I love the people that owned it. And I ended up like relapsing up there, and they had to like call the sober house owner because I was so lit in the parking lot. It was sad. I was so, it's been years after that, and I am too ashamed to show my face there. But anyways, I was saying, you know, Carter and we went and shot a scene after this. He actually is a legitimate club owner, so we shot in there. You can see that on our website. I've got a lot of great content planned for this week. I'm really focusing on YouTube. I appreciate so much how loyal my fans have been with going to my website. You know, watching myself on video, it's funny, you know, dating trans women, they are so hypercritical on their bodies. And it's funny, it really does kind of remind me of parallels to bodybuilders, you know, like, look at me, I'm like a pretty fit. Most people compliment my physique, and I watch this video and I think, oh, my calves are so small, you know? And I see my girlfriend doing the same thing with dysphoria, man. She's a beautiful woman, as you're going to see soon on video. And she'll be like, I don't know, like the stuff she gets in her head about is just so silly. I can't even believe it. Especially just objectively, she's doing way better than most trans women. And I don't say that to put other people down. It's just objective. She's a beautiful woman. You know, HRT has been very good to her, but that's the power of dysphoria, unfortunately. And I do draw parallels to that. And another reason it really grinds my gears that so many people like for lack of a better word, talk trash about trans women on HRT. I'm of the opinion that, you know, if you value bodybuilding in your body, to go on TRT or to use gear responsibly is a completely valid thing. It's not that risky when done responsibly. And you know what? Even if it is, guess what? People smoke. People are overweight. You know what? If you want to live your life in America in a suboptimal way, you're allowed to, especially with health. So to get, like, people have gotten on me for being on HRT at my age. Like, yeah, I don't care. You know, especially if you're overweight or smoke cigarettes, that's insane that you would comment on, you know, me being on TRT. So when I see, you know, trans women, and HRT is way safe. You know, there's like very small risk of blood clot, but for most women, it's a pretty benign thing. And it's for a much more valid reason. You know, now you can say it's all related to looks like, you know, TRT is, but it's tied to more than that, I've come to realize. So it really grinds my gears when people like try to soapbox about anti-HRT. It's just such a silly thing. Anyways, I got a little bit of flexing with me and Carter here. You know, it's crazy, man. Because like a guy like that, man, I look at him and he's just in phenomenal shape, like top 1 or 2%. And here I am, you know, standing next to him, and I feel like I kind of compare. You know, I think he's just got, you know, he's just got those genetics of like a really good-looking guy. You guys saw my pictures of when before I was in good shape. There was nothing too special about me. I really got to keep up my appearance to compete. I'll tell you what, though, having my income tied so much to my looks has been very motivating, and it's great for diet too. Like, I'm looking at myself, and I'm like very pleased. So fitness has been like, I want to say it's a good thing, but it also can tie in negatively to my self-esteem. You know, I get to where I tie in all of my identity and self-esteem with the current shape I'm in. Like, I've had times, especially like when I relapse, it's not just like, even if I use a couple days, I fall out of working out for like a month, and I just look significantly worse, and I'm just not happy with myself until I get back to where I was. And a lot of people characterize that as a bad thing. And to be fair, like, I like that I feel uncomfortable and that it drives me sometimes. I think that if you have a life where you're just constantly comfortable, it's not going to look good, especially in later years. I did that for years. And this also goes into a point, I was going to make a video which touched on this, talking about how I got into cam work, but some of the negative comments I've got about doing scenes with men, like, is this what you really want to do? Dude, what about your job? Is it what you really want to do? Probably not. If it is, you are incredibly blessed. But we're not entitled to that. There's a thing with young people where they think like the world owes them this entitling, fulfilling, like, you know, travel the world volunteering for the Red Cross and get paid tons of money type job. Dude, you know how many people have existed on this earth where their job was like farming rice or growing corn, and their reward was not starving? Like, yeah, my job is not that bad. Like, even the worst parts of it, the parts I really don't like, are still better than the best days roofing. That, you know, if you do construction like that, now there's skilled construction that I would still like to get into potentially, but like that real hardcore labor, if you can do that, man, power to you, but that shit sucks and it destroys your body and you don't get paid nearly enough. The money I'm making, I cannot make anywhere else. You can say all this rainbow and sunshine, like, just put your mind to it and stay clean, you know, Ned Flanders type stuff. No, this is what an opportunity I have to make a lot of money. And there's this one factor of it that makes up about, by the way, 1% of my work week. The vast majority is responding to messages, editing, promo. But this, you know, actual filming with a guy, yeah, I don't like it. And that's kind of a selling point, is that I'm truly straight. It's uncomfortable for me. But you know what else is uncomfortable? You know what's really demeaning? The going to a place and getting paid $11 an hour. And I don't say that to sound arrogant, but no, I think like I am worth more in the sense like I've focused and I had a good education, blah, 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 whatever. Like, yes, I can provide more than that. And even this, if this isn't the exact way I want to be doing it, I do love that I get to use my technical expertise and a little charisma
to make a wonderful living. No, I don't have a problem with what I do. It's not a super sad thing. No, I feel grateful that the gay community has been. I feel like I never want, you know, not everybody wins the science fair. I never won it, you know, but I'm top 1% of the big site, all thanks to the gay community. So yeah, no, I don't think my job's that bad. I like it. Thank you. And I have plenty more to come on YouTube this week. And I do want to say the overwhelming majority of the comments are positive. It's actually surprising. It's just a few of those ones. So yeah, thank you very much.